It's not actually just a plea for sympathy, because they're not going to have sympathy. They don't give a fuck. But they definitely don't want to be sued. Hello and welcome to episode 518 of the Thinking LSAT podcast. I'm Nathan Fox. With me is Ben Olson. We're the co-founders of LSATdemon.com and the LSAT Demon Daily podcast. Ben, last week we talked about the 50% increase in registrations for the August test. We may have seen one of the consequences of that increase. Apparently, Reddit has been filled with students complaining of an inability to schedule at an in-person testing center. You want to read a couple of these example posts?
Yeah, sure. The first one is LSAT August scheduling site rush? ? Is this normal for registering? I keep seeing a time, but then when I click them, it buffers and then disappears and switches to unavailable. Or if I get a time and I go to hit next, it then buffers and tells me it's no longer available.
Next one says, no testing center availability. Just tried to register for August, located in the state of Iowa, and there isn't a single center located in Iowa, despite the fact that there were multiple options in Iowa near me when I took the LSAT in June. The two closest options are a 3-hour drive. Should I just hope something opens up in the next few hours, or suck it up and make that drive?
Okay. Next one is scheduling. That's all it says. Are they going to keep open? Are they going to open up more slots at testing centers? LOL.
So my reaction to this whole kerfuffle is, why are you trying to take it at a testing center anyway? You know, they've been offering the test remotely since 2020, and scores have been up since 2020. We hear from many students that they would prefer to take it at home. I would prefer to take it at home. What about you, Ben? Would you like to go to a testing center that's an unfamiliar place, or would you prefer to take it at your home or office or somewhere that you know is stable internet, quiet, etc.?
Yeah. If I knew it was quiet, then I would prefer that. I think that a lot of people are probably going to these testing centers to try to avoid whatever, noise or distractions.
Family, roommates, construction, neighbors, who knows what. Okay, I guess I get that.
Yeah.
Students do ask us all the time whether we should take it remotely or in person. We polled some Demon team members to hear their take. You want to read Demon team member Mikey's thoughts?
I do. I do want to point out one other thing, and that is that historically the June test maybe has been more popular than the... Sorry. No, the June test has been more popular. Huh. Okay, never mind. If the June test has been more popular, then we're not just seeing the normal, increase.
Well,
okay, anyway.
We also know from the data that we were looking at last week just shows that test registrations are way, way up. So it's, regardless of what season has historically been busier, we know that right now is unusually busy. So they're apparently scrambling to find enough spots at these test centers.
Well, so actually, no, wait, that is an issue then. So if June is more popular, and this last June is more popular because of the increase in test takers, then if people were successful at registering in June, but not now,
I mean, I would imagine that they would adjust their test center availability based on like historical registrations, right?
Yeah.
So they would like reserve more spots at these testing facilities if it's a historically busy test.
So maybe they underestimated August.
Yeah, because August over August, right? It sounds like they might have undershot it. They're like, they didn't reserve enough spots.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's hear from the from the team. So start with Mikey.
Sure. Demon team member Mikey says, some friends and I had major issues when taking the test remote. Proctor's canceling tests midway through because you glanced away from the screen. Tests not starting for hours after the initial start time because they were having issues on their end, and other similar scenarios. In-person ended up being smooth and easy for me.
Amina says, I personally took it at a test center because I didn't want to be responsible for making sure things ran smoothly. I just wanted to focus on taking the test. However, the sign-up process was very much giving Ticketmaster vibes.
Okay. And then Abby says, I've heard tons of stories like proctor issues. My counterpoint, if LSAC is going to fuck my day up, I might as well be at home in my comfy clothes. My threshold for bullshit is way higher from home. Okay.
That's how I would feel about it. You know, like I would always just register and take it at home. I figure I can find a quiet place. I can find a door that I can close. And I know that the internet is going to be stable and, you know, I'll roll the dice. Sure. There can be proctor issues. And we have heard lots of horror stories from online proctoring, remote proctoring, all these things. We've heard these things before. That said, the people who have these issues are very vocal about them. The people who don't have any issues are not vocal about them at all. It's like you could write an LSAT question about this, right? The people who have problems talk about it.
Yeah.
And so I think there's this perception that it's a lot worse taking it at home than it probably actually is. That said, you know, it can be annoying when they do remote proctors, but you don't even have the same proctor throughout the whole test.
Yeah.
So other horror stories that we've heard are, for example, accommodated students where they get their accommodations sorted out with one proctor, but then the proctor switches. And then the new proctor is like, wait, what are you doing reading aloud? Or what are you doing stopping and starting? Or what are you doing standing up? And it's like, okay, all these things that are supposed to be accommodated for, now you're re-educating the new proctor every time. And I can see how that would be annoying and maybe a reason to go take it in person.
Yeah.
But if I was a not accommodated student, which I'm not, I think I would just probably take it at home and take my chances like Abby. At least I could have my PJs on, you know?
Cool.
All right. Anyway, one would presume that they're going to open up more spots at testing centers. I would hope that they would try to find those spots.
On some level, they're in the business of selling tests and they are unable to sell them right now.
Right. I mean, they also don't seem to care about inconveniencing their customers because they are like kind of a monopolist.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's like, yeah, they'll probably give you an opportunity to take the test. Will it be on a day that is convenient for you? Maybe.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
You know, take your chances. Okay. Next item on our agenda is from Tom, and it's about eliminating 4 out of 5.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hi, Ben and Nathan. Wanted to start off by saying I love your guys' approach. I feel like I'm wasting some time when I conclusively eliminate 4 answers, but can't seem to 100% prove the last one, even though I'm also certain the other 4 can't be right. This tends to happen on some level 5s. Okay, level 5 questions. After wrestling with it for a few minutes and spending a ton of time rereading stuff, hoping for some conclusive proof that the answer is right, I end up giving up and picking it. I do get it right most of the time, but at the same time, I definitely wasted a lot of time on it. My main question is, when do you know if you should just pick the answer and move on when you feel like the other 4 are total shit? Thanks for everything, Tom.
I would just tell Tom to keep practicing. I mean, process of elimination is one way to correctly solve questions. If you know for sure that you just can't pick those other 4 answers, then sometimes you're settling for the best of a bad lot. And even if you don't 1,000% understand that answer, if you're sure enough that the other 4 answers are wrong, I mean, you're not an LSAT teacher. You don't have to sit there and explain it to a class of people. So, you know, just like, because consider the flip side, right? Where I think often we pick answers that we feel are correct, but we can't conclusively eliminate all 4 of the wrong answers. And that's fine because you don't have to. The wrong answers don't even have to make sense. You don't have to know for sure why every single answer is wrong.
Yep.
Again, you're not an LSAT teacher. So there's 2 ways to get to the correct answer. You can either positively identify the correct answer. You know, if we're talking about a must be true question, for example, you're just like, yeah, the evidence proves this answer. I know that for sure. And I know it doesn't prove this one or that one. And I don't see how it could prove that one. And this one, I don't even understand what that one's saying. That's fine. You don't have to know exactly what every wrong answer means. I would say it's more rare that, or rarer, that you would end up in Tom's situation, but not 0% of the time. There are times where you're just like, yeah, okay, these 4 answers, I know that I can't possibly pick them. All right, well, then pick the other one and move on. I don't know. What would you say?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's in short, there are 2 ways to get the correct answer, either eliminating 4 wrong answers or correctly choosing the correct answer. And a lot of times as you get better, like you said at the beginning, keep practicing, right, Tom? Because as you get better, a lot of times you'll see the correct answer through both of those means. And that feels great, but it's not necessary.
Right. You know, we want you to have very high accuracy. And it sounds like Tom is most of the time getting these right. Of course, most of the time just means 51% or more. Hopefully he's getting these questions right 80 or 90 or 95% of the time.
I mean, they are
If
level
not,
5
you know,
questions, so I guess,
True. True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the real answer is, do you feel like you're getting closer to a conclusive solve or not? If you feel like you're getting closer, if you feel like you are productively working on the question, then you should probably keep working on it. But if you're not getting any closer to certainty, if you're just, the wheels are spinning, well, then it's time to try something else, right? So you just have to, at some point, pick an answer and move on to the next one.
Yeah. Yep.
And that, you know, so that can happen sometimes, not very often, right? Because we do really encourage you to have 95% accuracy on questions attempted.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're going to narrow it down to 2 and you just can't get there. You just can't get any further. You know, you're not making progress. And okay, fine. So once in a while, I'm talking about like once per section, probably, you just have to go, well, I don't know. Something's telling me it's probably this one, not that one. Okay, fine. Pick it and move on.
And then learn.
But remember that,
yeah.
Well, later, learn from it,
Yeah.
right? And just remember that shouldn't be happening very often. Students far too easily settle for those kinds of 50-50s. They think, oh, it's good that I narrowed it down to a 50-50.
And I moved
Oh,
on.
I'll just take one of them and move on.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but wait, couldn't you have gone from a 50-50 to 100% if you would have spent a little more time on it? But the answer to that question is not always yes. Sometimes you did spend a little more time on it. You still aren't seeing it. There's just something you're missing. You've already reread it. And it's not a matter of how much time you've spent. It's a matter of, are you getting closer to a solution? And if you're not, okay, fine. Pick one, move on. Same thing here with Tom's situation. If you know it's not those 4, and you're not exactly sure why this one is justified, but you know you can't pick the other 4, okay, you're not getting any closer than that right now. So just pick it and move on. All right. Anything more for Tom?
No. This next one is from Home Stretch Harry. The subject is, what should I do the week before my test?
I mean, short answer is you should do the same thing you've been doing on all previous weeks.
Agreed.
But let's hear Harry's email.
Agreed. Next question.
Yeah, no. Hi, Ben and Nathan. I'm a huge fan of the Demon. Within 1 month, I've improved from a 163 to a 179, and I owe it all to your platform and podcasts. I'm taking the LSAT in August, and I had a question regarding what I should do in the week before. I don't have a set schedule at the moment. I'm just doing a mix of drilling sections, 1 practice test a week, and deeply reviewing my mistakes. I'd be keen to learn what you recommend during the week before the test, day by day. Thanks very much for everything. This is an interesting email, Ben, because there's a lot here to like, and there's also something here to worry about.
Yeah, well, here's my advice, and I think, Nate, you would agree. Day by day. Don't worry about your day-to-day schedule. Instead, what you're doing is perfect. A mix of drilling sections and 1 practice test a week. I will say that I'm saying this is perfect for you because you're scoring at 179 or something like that. You're in the high 170s. A lot of people should not be taking 1 practice test a week. It's just way too much. But you're in a position where you're not getting that many wrong, and so taking the time to review a full test isn't going to take you that long.
No, he's only making 2 mistakes per test or something.
Yeah.
So He does the full test. That's great practice for somebody like Harry because he's just correctly solving almost every question. He gets done. He looks at his 178 or 179. He goes, okay, here's a couple that I missed. And then he says he's deeply reviewing those mistakes, which is great. You know, if it's no surprise that he's been able to improve from 163 to 179. He's following our advice. A mix of drilling, timed sections, and deep review, right? He's killing it.
Yep.
The part that I'm worried about is that he's asking us for specific advice about the week before the test. And then he's doubling down on that by asking, oh, I want to know what I should do every day before the test, day by day, special advice the day before the test. But Harry, it's critically important that you treat this official test as if it's just another practice test. You haven't been precious about your day-to-day study schedule leading up to your practice tests, and you're practice testing 179. So then why would you be precious about your day-to-day practice tests or your day-to-day practice schedule on the way up to the official test? You're doing something, by asking this question, you're doing something, you're planning to do something different on your official test. And when you do something different on your official test, you get different results. You don't want different results. You want the results that you've been getting on your practice tests. So it's critical, Harry, that you stop giving the test so much respect. You can't build it up into this big, grand thing. Just do what you've been doing. And by the way, Harry, since law schools only care about your highest score, and since you're allowed to take it 5 times in a 5-year period, you should be planning on, if you're taking August, you should also be planning on taking September, October if necessary, November if necessary, because that's what's going to really help you treat this August test as if it's just another practice test. I mean, like, you should be planning, if you're going to plan a study schedule, you should be planning the week after the test, because you need to get back on the horse, or at least you need to stay on the horse. You know, the week after your test, Harry, you should plan on doing a mix of drilling and time sections with thorough review of your mistakes, because it's going to take 3 weeks for your scores to come back. And you should be planning on taking the September test if necessary. If you don't do all that, then you're putting all your eggs in one basket in August. And that's how we hear those horror stories, right? When scores come out. Oh, I was practice testing 179, but then I scored a 162 on my official.
Yeah.
What's going on? It's like, well, yeah, because you didn't treat your official as if it was just another one of those practice tests.
Well, and even in those great cases where someone, say, gets a 175 or a 173, it's like you have a 179 on your practice tests. So
you should be taking it again.
Yeah, you should be taking it again. I mean, there might be cases where, hey, look, you're above the 75th percentile at every school in the world, therefore you've decided to stop. But unless that's the case,
a 177 or a 178, right? I mean, yeah, it's just not for most people. So I'm sure Harry's reporting his high here of 179, right? He's not averaging 179. He's not always scoring 179.
Exactly.
That's the best number he's seen. He has seen a range of numbers in the 170s. And if you treat it like it's just another practice test, then you're going to get another one of those numbers in the 170s on the official. And if it's a 179, then you can just stop. But you won't know that for 3 more weeks. And students are notoriously bad at assessing how well they did. Which means, Harry, even somebody scoring as high as you are, I hope, are registered for September. And I hope you're planning on, okay, August, my official in August is just another practice test, and I'm going to keep prepping for September. Best case scenario, I get to withdraw from September because I killed August. But if I didn't kill August, I don't want to be deflated and demoralized, or as happens so often, people aren't even registered for the next test. Oh, now I got to, and they wait 3 weeks. They don't do any studying at all. And now they're like frantically trying to register for the October test or the November test and get back up to speed or whatever. And it's just, we've learned from experience that that's not the optimal way to do anything.
Agreed.
Next one is from Allison. She's asking about LSAT Demon dashboard scores.
Hi, LSAT Demon team. I know the ratings section on the dashboard says not to obsess over the numbers, but what if my obsessing over them leads me to drill more? I would imagine seeing the numbers go up is giving me a dopamine hit that feels like other gamified apps like Duolingo and the sort. But when I get questions wrong and the ratings go down, I sometimes get frustrated or sad, even though I know it means I spent my time well reviewing questions I don't understand yet. What was your intent behind the rating system, and how do you suggest we get the most out of it? P.S. I love the rating system. Please don't get rid of it.
Okay. I've complained about the rating system over time because I've this part about people getting discouraged or frustrated or sad, or sometimes people are just confused about what the ratings even mean. But we have kept them because people do get motivated by them. Was motivation the purpose behind the ratings in the first place?
Yeah, motivation. And when it comes to coming up with the ratings themselves, it was an attempt to try to identify where you're at on the basis of one question, not an entire section or really an entire test. So
wait, but the rating reflects more than just one question, right?
Yes, but the point is that any additional question
can change the rating.
Can give us clarity on, okay, what's your skill level, right? Because every time you do a question, we know how hard that question is. We know how long you took on it. And we know whether you got it right or wrong, right? And so there's information there. And the way the LSAT is set up, you just don't get any sort of numerical information until you take a full test, or until you do you can do a time section and you go, okay, well, this is the percentage I got correct, but okay, how can we glean as much information out of just one question as possible? And so the rating system is trying to as accurately predict your performance between 0 and 100, 0 being you can't get any questions right, and 100 being you've gotten a substantial number scores of level 5 questions, not only right, but also right within a reasonable amount of time. If someone does that, then yeah, okay, what does 100 mean? I don't know exactly, except, wow, you're doing level 5 questions perfectly and within a reasonable amount of time for a long time. So damn, you must be pretty good. You must understand something.
So the purpose is to just give people a more immediate measure of what their projected level is.
Yep.
Nothing's perfect, of course, but we're just trying to show you your progress over time. Hopefully people are finding it motivating. Allison says most of the time she does. Of course, there's going to be bumps in the road, right? Your progress is not going to be linear, or it's not going to only go up like a ratchet. It is going to go up and down. And so you shouldn't be ever discouraged about a little dip in your ratings. Just expect that if you actually follow our advice, which again is drilling, timed sections, thorough review of all your mistakes. If you keep doing that, give me one high quality hour every day, then I'm very confident that over time those ratings are going to go up.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I would say that advice also applies to time sections and time tests, right? How many times do people take a time test, their score drops, and now they're depressed and they just decide to take another test the next day or even the same day? And it's like, no, it's just information. Take it for what it's worth.
It's just one data point. Yeah. And especially when you're doing timed tests, it's critical that you have the time blocked off to review all your mistakes, because human nature sometimes interferes and people either are happy about the result or they're discouraged about the result, and all they want to do is just take another test.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but no, the point is to learn to ignore the clock and then learn from your mistakes, because if you don't learn from your mistakes, then your performance is just going to stagnate.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
We have one here from Connor. The subject is listening to reading comprehension passage reads.
Hello. When reviewing RC, how often do you think I should be taking the time to watch video explanations of an instructor reading the passage aloud? Perhaps only in cases where I found the passage particularly confusing? Question mark. Often, because I take my time, I get RC passages 100% correct when drilling. And I'm just a bit worried that I'm not learning how to comprehend these passages more accurately because I often don't have wrong answers to review. I'll still review a question if I had trouble with it, even if I got it correct, but still my concern remains. I feel like with LR, I learned so much from my drilling, but I don't feel that way with RC. Thanks, Connor. How often, Connor's referring specifically to the story time videos where I or you or Becca or one of our other teachers just reads the whole passage and like kind of talks our way through it.
Yeah.
Do you think Connor should be doing that if watching that video? I mean, they can be kind of long, right? So frequently 10, 12-minute videos. Is it a good use of Connor's time if he got all of the questions on that passage right?
I think it is occasionally. I mean, I don't remember what I did for reading comprehension when I was studying for the test, but I remember consistently, right? Like I would do a game and then I would get all the questions right. And I might even do it fast. But I was still curious. Okay, how did someone else set this up? How did someone else approach this? Is there something I could have done better, even though it seems like it went really well? I'm not saying that Connor should do this every time. That sounds like a waste of time. But it's almost like Connor knows the answer to his question because he says, perhaps only in cases where I found the passage particularly confusing. Okay, you found it confusing. You got them all right. That's great. But there's still something there that is disconnecting for you.
Yeah.
Go watch the video, see what could have stuck out more obviously. You can also watch these double time, even triple time, I think. So,
Yeah. If you got them all right, you got them all right. And I'm totally fine with you just moving on. If you missed one or found the passage confusing, or definitely if you missed more than one, you missed something in the passage. You just didn't really get it the way we would have got it. And so at that point, I would think that it could be very valuable to listen to or watch us read. You don't even have to necessarily stick around for us to read the whole passage. Because I think if you listen to just the first 4 minutes, you'll see how we're building comprehension as we go.
Sure.
You'll realize, I think in a lot of cases, you'll realize, oh, wow, they got something out of the first or second sentence that I didn't really get. Or look how they're already coming up with an example from real life to try to make this passage make more sense to them.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you found a passage really confusing, it's probably because you just weren't engaged enough. And so you'll see Ben or Becca or me or whoever, you'll see us really like getting in there in the first paragraph. And I feel like the battle is often just already won or lost in that first paragraph.
Agreed.
Anything more for Connor?
No. Good luck. This next one is from Megan. The subject line is my transcript petition success story.
Hi, Ben, Nathan, and the Demon team. First, I want to say I'm a big fan of the podcast. This email was inspired by one of your episodes where you discussed the possibility of getting grades removed or expunged from a transcript. I wanted to share that I was successful in doing just that. Damn, that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, that's great.
That's so awesome.
It's a huge impact, right? I mean, gosh.
Oh, and at the beginning of I never would have imagined at the beginning of my LSAT teaching career, I never would have thought, oh, I'll eventually be like giving people advice like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you can actually go get your undergrad transcripts changed.
Yeah.
And we just learned that over time, and we've been doing it for so long. Anyway, Megan says, after being told by multiple lower level administrators that it wasn't possible, I kept pushing until I found someone who was willing to listen. That sounds like a lawyer. For context, in 2017, I stopped attending school after building a successful real estate business. After being sued by a seller my interest in real estate law reignited my passion for education. When I returned to school in 2024, almost a decade later, my GPA was weighed down by 2 Fs from that earlier period. I submitted a petition to have them removed, and it was approved. I believe the inclusion of Texas Education Code Section 51.931, the Academic Fresh Start Law, played a key role in making this possible. I think it's important to note that student petitions can be submitted for extenuating circumstances, which can vary widely. The reason I shared my petition is just one path forward. I've attached the statement of explanation I submitted to the department chair and appeals committee. Please feel free to share it if you think it might help other students willing to advocate for themselves. Wow. Thanks, Megan. Have you, Ben, ever heard of the Academic Fresh Start Law in the Texas Education Code?
No.
No. But there's a lot of people in Texas and potentially a lot of listeners who might be able to take advantage of Texas's Academic Fresh Start Law.
Well, and other states may have similar laws. I mean, just the mere fact that that kind of thing exists. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And I would, ask ChatGPT, right? Hey, I live in X state. Is there anything analogous to this Texas's Fresh Start Law? Obviously, double check everything that it tells you, because it might just glaze you with telling you what you want to hear. But it also can be extremely helpful sometimes. You want to read this letter, or you want me to read it?
I'm curious. Yeah, I'm happy to. It says, "Dear Dr. Martinez and members of the Academic Appeals Committee, I'm writing to respectfully petition for the removal or modification of 2 failing grades from my academic transcript for the spring 2017 term due to significant extenuating circumstances that impacted my academic performance."
I want to just point out here that I haven't read the statute, but my guess is the statute mentions significant extenuating circumstances.
Absolutely.
And here Megan is very nicely stating her conclusion right at the top, using the language from the statute.
Yeah, totally.
And it sounds like she's now going to build a case to justify. She'll probably restate it at the end. It almost sounds like she got an attorney to help her draft this. And maybe she did. Maybe she had ChatGPT act like an attorney and help her draft this. But this so far, it looks awesome, because what do Dr. Martinez and the members of the Academic Appeals Committee do when they see this? She's not just starting off whining about giving a sob story, right? It's not actually just a plea for sympathy, because they're not going to have sympathy. They don't give a fuck, but they definitely don't want to be sued.
Yep.
And the language that she's using here is the language of, hey, you have to grant this.
Yeah.
She's not threatening suit, but she's not threatening suit, right? She's just like, hey, here's the deal.
Yeah. Well, I for whatever reason, I'm imagining some professional baseball player coming and standing up in the mound, or in the batter's box.
Yeah.
Ready to receive a pitch.
Yeah.
They're all dressed up.
Yeah.
They're
She means
positioned
business.
correctly. This isn't, oh, I'm in my day clothes or my work, some random thing and say, hey, I want to talk to you about these pitches. It's like, no, I know what I'm doing. We're going to play ball and I'm going to hit. I'm going to get something good here.
No, she means business. Yeah, it's true. All right. Want to read the next paragraph?
During that time, I faced serious medical challenges and financial hardship, which were beyond my control and substantially interfered with my ability to attend and complete my coursework.
Again, I'm guessing that that's probably language lifted straight from the statute. Circumstances beyond my control substantially interfered with my ability to attend and complete my coursework.
Yep.
Maybe not, but it just sounds so much like that's the type of thing that might be in one of these laws. And then she's just spitting that right back out to them. She still hasn't gotten into her specific facts, but like, these are the allegations.
Yeah. She continues, I ultimately needed to move back home for support. I have attached hospital records to verify the legitimacy of these circumstances. Although these courses are not factored into my degree plan GPA, they are included in the cumulative GPA calculation used by the Law School Admission Council, LSAC, which significantly affects my competitiveness as a law school applicant. By the way, if this doesn't sound legal enough already, I am applying to law school. Additionally, I would like to note that I have successfully dropped one of the 3 courses during the September 2017 semester with a WS, which in parentheses is withdrawal with satisfactory performance. However, due to the circumstances I was facing at the time, I was unable to complete the withdrawal process for the remaining 2 courses. This petition specifically applies to those 2 courses.
Yep, she knows exactly what she wants. She's marshaling all the facts in her favor. And she's just going to make it look easier for Dr. Martinez and the committee
to just say
grant
yes.
her request.
Yeah.
They're just going to be like, okay, this is going to be a fucking nightmare if we deny this. She seems to know what she's talking about. Let's just grant it and move on with our lives.
All right. Last couple paragraphs here. After a significant break in enrollment, I returned to Alamo Colleges in spring 2024 and have since maintained a 4.0 GPA. I have also retaken one of the failed courses and received an A, demonstrating a renewed commitment to my education. I'm also proud to share that I'm on track to become the first student from the Alamo Colleges district to graduate with a bachelor's degree and then continue on to law school, an achievement that would be both personally meaningful and institutionally historic. Okay.
Nice.
Final paragraphs. I understand that Texas Education Code Section 51.931 offers the academic fresh start law, which allows students to return after a substantial absence to petition for older grades to be excluded from GPA calculations, particularly when accompanied by strong academic performance. I also understand that my situation may not meet every technical requirement, but I believe my situation aligns closely with the intent of such policy. I kindly ask the committee to consider this context in evaluating my petition.
Wow. I mean, it sounds like it's written by a lawyer. It's just like, okay, so I'm going to steal your thunder by saying I understand that I'm not meeting every technical requirement, but we can argue from the intent of the policy. She goes on.
Yeah. With that in mind, I respectfully request one of the following outcomes. First, that the spring 2017 semester be expunged from my transcript entirely, or 2, if expungement is not possible, that the 2 failing grades be changed to one of the following withdrawal notations: W, WM, WN, WS, or WX, which, per LSAT guidelines, are not calculated into the LSAT cumulative GPA and would help reflect the true nature of my circumstances without continuing to harm my academic record. And then she kindly concludes, thank you very much for your time and consideration of my request. I would be grateful for any exception or support the college can provide as I work toward a future in law. Please let me know if there is any further documentation or information needed to proceed. Sincerely, Megan.
Amazing. I feel like everyone should do this. I mean, it's a big hassle for all of your undergraduate institutions, but fuck them. They're whatever.
Well, it's
You've
actually
already
in
paid
their
a lot of money
interest
to go to their school. Yeah. Well, as Megan points out, right? She's telling them, and you know who really needs to hear this, or you know who needs to get letters like this, are all these schools that have these like scam academic rehabilitation programs. We've talked about these on the show before, where they claim, oh yeah, no, we're not gonna, if you come back to school after a bad semester, we're not gonna, we're gonna rehabilitate your GPA. But then they leave those grades on your transcript.
Yeah.
They don't count those grades in your in their GPA calculation, but LSAC does. They need to get letters like this that explain and show them, hey, look, 1, you might be required to do this by some statute. 2, it's in your interest because I'm applying to law school and you're basically fucking me by having these grades on my transcript that shouldn't be there. She's saying this all in a very polite way, but in a pretty direct way telling them exactly what she wants and here's why she wants it. And she's providing evidence, and telling them I'm willing to provide more evidence. What are they going to do here?
Oh, 100%. It was probably a 30-second decision.
Yeah.
The committee's like, huh?
I mean,
yeah, do it. What? Huh?
I suppose it's possible that they asked her for more documentation, but I'm sure she would just provide it. And then what are they going to do?
Yeah.
It's just like, she's not going away.
Yeah.
She knows what she's talking about here, and she has a legitimate case. And why wouldn't they change it? Excellent, Megan. Thank you for sharing that with us. Next one, Ben, is on the importance of applying broadly. This is Demon team member Brandon sending in a story from a student on Reddit who described their scholarship dilemma after accepting a partial scholarship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The poster writes, I originally thought, oh yeah, I'm only paying $15,000 of tuition a year at a pretty good school! ! But somehow that's basically more than like $20,000 a year plus cost of living, and I'm probably graduating with over $100,000 of debt. Okay, upside down smiley face emoji twice. I should have applied to way more schools and tried to get a full ride. I feel so dumb. And then sort of crying emojis. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they basically fell for a scammership.
Yeah.
We don't know what school they went to. We don't know what the tuition is. We don't know what their scholarship offer was. But the tuition minus scholarship was still $15,000 a year just of tuition.
Got to add in
which
fees.
Which is a lot of money.
People look over the fees. $20,000.
Add in another $5,000 in fees.
Yep.
Also add in 2L and 3L tuition
Hikes.
Inflation.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Also add in the day you start school, the interest starts accumulating on your debt.
Mm-hmm.
And add in living expenses. And next thing you know, this person who thought they were getting this generous offer.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, we know that like 80-something% of all law students get an offer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you're such a good candidate for our school that we'd love to give you this scholarship. And people are like, oh, well, I'm getting a deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting a deal that's going to put you 6 figures in debt.
Mm-hmm.
You want to read this comment?
Yeah. So one of the comments says, yeah, going into 3L and I was in the same situation, $40,000 a year. So only really thought I would be paying, wait, what? Paying $20,000 to $25,000 a year. Oh, okay. So they got a scholarship for $40,000 a year. So they thought they'd be paying only $20,000 to $25,000 a year. But yeah, I'll be a little over $100,000 in debt once I graduate. But honestly, like others have said, $100,000 is not bad at all. It could be way worse. And yeah, you could be paying for law school at sticker price. This commenter needs to be named Yeah. I mean, they like the word yeah.
They've also been drinking the Kool-Aid. They're trying to justify their own bad decision here by saying, oh yeah, it's going to be a little bit over $100,000. Okay, well, how much over $100,000? Also, $100,000 is a lot of money. $100,000 at, what are you paying interest rate on these loans? 7-8%?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're paying $8,000 a year just to service the debt?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are we looking? That's $600-700 a month that you're paying just to service the debt.
Yeah.
That's not even paying anything on the principal. So you're going to graduate with over $1,000 a month in student loan payments for 10, 20, 30 years just so that you can pay back this price of your JD. And it's crazy that they're saying, and yeah, you could be paying for law school at sticker price. Sure, you could, but the percent of people who do that is in like the teens.
Yeah.
Right? 4 out of 5 law students do not pay sticker price. So you could, you could have made an even worse decision. Yeah, sure. And yeah, it could be way worse. It could be 200K or 300K. But the fact that some people are making devastatingly bad decisions doesn't justify you making a seriously bad decision.
Totally. Well, and keep in mind that 3% of at least full-time students in the US are getting paid to go. And
Yeah.
another 5% are paying nothing, at least in terms of tuition. So 8% of students, that's
Are actually making money.
have a way better deal. Yeah.
Go to lsatdemon.com/scholarships
Yeah.
and please click into the schools that you're interested in and look at our visual representation of who pays for school at that who pays for the law school.
Yeah.
And you might be shocked to see how many people are there on a full ride or actually getting paid to go there or paying something less than 50%. In many cases, it's going to be like 75% of the class is paying less than 50% of the nominal tuition.
Yeah.
And so if you got a $15,000 price on a $30,000 degree, you might be getting one of the worst deals in the class.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they're not going to tell you that. I mean, they have to report to the American Bar Association on these standard 509 reports, but they hide that information in the 509 reports, right? It's like way down on the second or third page is where you see that table. And then the table's really hard to read. And they do everything they can to hide it, including, they can give you a full tuition scholarship, but if it doesn't cover every dollar of the required fees, they don't even have to call it a full tuition scholarship on the 509 disclosure report. So just again, go to lsatdemon.com/scholarships or just Google LSAT Demon Scholarship Estimator and spend some time playing around with these numbers because they are shocking. If more people did that, there'd be fewer people on Reddit crying about how bad their debt is from law school.
Yeah. All right. Word of the week.
Let's do it. Word of the week is askance. I think I would be able to know what that word means just from the word. But we got an example here. This is from a real case, I guess.
Yeah.
This is coming from fortune.com, some article about AI and Anthropic. So the quote is, the judge also looked askance at Anthropic's acknowledgement that it had turned to downloading pirated books in order to save time and money in building its AI models. So if this judge is looking askance at that behavior, what does that mean?
To me, that sounds like, what did they do? They downloaded pirated books in order to save time and money. That doesn't sound like a legal justification for doing that, right? If you're actually spending time and money to do something, then you're probably doing that to comply with the law. But if you're doing it to save time and money, it sounds like you're trying to avoid the law. So looked askance to me sounds like looked down at or looked disapprovingly at, or maybe even rolling your eyes, like looked to the side, like, huh? Like what? That's my guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's that emoji with the eyebrow up.
Yeah.
Like you sure about that?
Yeah.
Like that one.
Yeah.
Or I like the one with the monocle. I like that one.
The investigate. Yeah.
It's like, really? That's what you're coming with?
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a headline. It's probably a headline. It says, a federal judge says training AI on copyrighted works is fair use, but casts doubt on the use of pirated materials. So yeah, this looking askance at this use of pirated materials is there. The judge is doubtful about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is a thing called fair use, but look, you're actually downloading pirated books in order to, I don't know. Interesting. I suppose we should read the actual definition
Sure.
here from Cambridge. Askance is an adverb. To look askance is to look at or think about someone or something with doubt, disapproval, or lack of trust. So you might look askance at someone's scruffy clothes. You try to roll out to some fancy country club, or you try to go hang out in the lobby of some fancy hotel or something. And if you're not dressed appropriately, the staff might be, giving you the side eye.
Yeah.
That's what
Disapproval
means.
Disapprovingly. Okay.
Yep. Cool. If you'd like to catch up on all of our words of the week, you can go to lsat.link/wow. You can also be LSAT famous by asking questions or sharing news with us on our website, thinkinglsat.com, or on the socials at LSAT Demon. If you have questions about the LSAT Demon, please email help@lsatdemon.com and check out our other podcast, LSAT Demon Daily. That was episode 518 of the Thinking LSAT podcast. Thanks all y'all for listening. Nice knowing you. Don't pay for law school.